actually going to start straight down on the mat this morning, just for something different. We're going to do a few more floor-based things. So feel free just to gracefully hit the floor into sitting, just sitting on your backside. Thank you. We are sitting with our knees bent somewhere out in front, okay? Don't need to be close or far, just somewhere semi-comfortable. Hands on under the knees and just sort of pull yourself up as tall and as straight as you can. Lovely. And from there, I just want you to take a breath in, and on the breath out, we tuck the tail and just round through that lower back. That's it, yep. And then breathe in, lift back up, sit tall. So we're breathing out as we tuck the tail, rounding through this lumbar spine, rolling onto kind of the back of those sit bones, and then back up and propped up on top of the sit bones. And one more time. The arms are lengthening, and then they'll obviously help to pull us up. One more, we go back down. And then up again, hold tight at the top. Shoulder blades pulling back. We're going to kind of pull against under the knees, squeeze those shoulder blades behind. And then I'm going to get you to round the back again and slouch, fully drop the chest under and stretch between those shoulder blades. Yeah, that's it. Your chin might lower to the chest or not, doesn't matter. But we're then pulling back up and exaggerate that squeeze of the shoulder blades behind. Lovely. Let's go again. Back down, stretch and open, separating the shoulder blades apart. And you know it, we're back up using the arms to pull against the legs and squeeze. Then from there, I'm going to get you just to lean back on those sit bones and try to float the feet up off the floor. We're balancing on our back sides. Very good. Chest is lifted. And I just want you to gaze away into the distance there, balancing. And then as you feel more confident, as that balance settles, we take one hand off and then two hands off. And use your tummy to hold you strong and steady. Excellent. Yep, not bad at all. Hands back on, feet back down, and sitting tall. We can go through all of those in 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do little slouches, just a little C-shaped curve. Then we're going to come right down, arm stretch, open the shoulder blades. Then we come up, lean back and balance. Then hands off. Not that fast, but here we go. Feet back down. Sit with me here. We breathe in, sit tall. Breathe out, tuck the tail, rolling off the sit bones back. Breathe in, we pull back up. Shoulder blades squeeze at the top. Then tuck the tail round and all the way back. Arms lengthen out and shoulder blades stretch apart. Then pull yourselves back up tall. Exaggerate the posture at the top there. Shoulders are back. We lean into that balance position. If you're feeling up to it, then both hands raise. 3, 2, 1. Hands on, feet on. One more time through all of those. Sit tall, breathe in. Breathe out, tuck and roll through the lower back. Then breathe in, back up. Squeeze shoulder blades together. Then we let them drop and stretch apart at the bottom. Nice. Then pull back up. We lift the chest high. We lean back and feet float up. Then again, if you're up to it, arms raise. Hold here if you can. Join me with arm raises if you want the challenge as well. Feet can go back down if that's too much for you today. We breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, hands wide. Breathe in, hands up again. Then breathe out, arms forward, holding on, and feet to the floor. Restep, hands behind or onto elbows if the wrists are a bit sore. We push the chest forward, stretch open the collarbones and the ribs at the front. Then, of course, for those that can, we push the feet down to lift our hips into reverse plank as high as you can. Good, chest up, hips up. You can look down at your knees or up at the ceiling, wherever your neck is most comfortable. Breathe and count for 3, 2, 1, and hips back down, legs out straight. We're going to go legs straight and slightly wider. Yep, just slightly out wider the hips. couple of options here. So if you're really kind of slouched and it's hard for you to sit with your chest nice and proud, bend your knees and then try to up on those sit bones again in there. Otherwise, legs out straight and hands out wide. We take a breath in and try to lift the rib cage higher. Breathe out and just twist to look to the side. Breathe in, back to front. Good. And breathe out, turn the other way. Breathe in, back to front. Again, breathe out, twist. Breathe in, center. Breathe out, twist. Breathe in, center. Good. Keep going. Harder than it looks, isn't it? So with those twists, we're again trying to keep our body upright. We're kind of just rotating this at the spine. So our top half is on a lazy Susan, just turning, twisting, rotating. Well done. Come back to center, hands to the front. Want you to breathe in, reach the arms up. On the breath out, we'll switch those arms, one to the front, one to the back as you twist. That's it. Hand to the floor behind you and just reach over the head. Okay, now I'm breaking this down quite slow. Come back up to center, hands to the front. Breathe in, reach up. Breathe out, arms twist. We go, they split and we twist. Hand to the floor behind you and the other one overhead, leaning back. Come back up, back to center, hands forward. Breathe in again, arms up. Breathe out, split the arms, twist and reach overhead. We've got one more to the other side. Come back to the front when you're ready. Breathe in on the lift of the arms. Breathe out, split the arms, turn to the side, reach behind and leaning, bending back. Now the one extension on that, and I'll just quickly demo, is breath in, split, push onto your heels and lift into that back bend. Now, there's lots of factors you need. There's strong wrists, strong shoulders, and everything else pretty strong. But if that's not the case for you, just go back to that back bend without the hip lift. So we've got two more of those. Forwards and hold. Breathe in, arms up. Breathe out, split the arms, reach behind and lift if you like. Excellent. Come back down and through to the front. Breathe in, arms up. Other side, split and twist the body, then lift the hips if you can. Reaching behind and lower back down, hands to the front. Yay! Legs together. And take a breath in if you haven't already. Forwards, fold towards your toes. Tuck the chin in. And then on the next breath out, we roll up. Sit tall. And breath out and roll all the way down to the floor. Nice long stretch at the bottom. Long body. Arms up. If the shoulders aren't comfortable, arms can be out wide instead. Good. And just have a good breather there. We spent a lot of time loading up the hip flexors and twisting through the middle of the back. So it's good just to have a bit of reprieve. All right, next exercise. Opposite arm, opposite leg, you're both going to rise up towards the ceiling. Pretty simple. Then we gently lower back down, nice and soft. Other side, breathe in on the left, breathe out on the lower. It's opposite leg with opposite arm, alternating sides. We're trying to maintain that neutral spine position, so that natural curve that's already occurring there in your lower back especially, but it's the whole spine really. We are breathing as we move. Don't worry if you're doing the opposite to my prompts, okay? We breathe in on the rise up, breathe out on the lower down. Any clicking or clonking in the hips, turn the leg out like a ballerina. See if that fixes it. If not, just reduce your range. So you might only do teeny tiny movements, but it's still better than nothing. Good. And then obviously we also want to control the rib flare a little bit. So just imagine those ribs staying nice and soft, kind of melting into the floor below you. And we've got one more here. Breath in, arm and leg rise. Breath out and lower. Good job, and relax there at the bottom. We're going to then leave the legs out of this exercise and move into an abdo prep, which is essentially a crunch. We're going to breathe in to prepare, then on the breath out, bring the arms over the body, reach towards your toes as you lift your head and shoulder blades off the floor. Looking down at your toes, chin to the chest. We lower the head, reach the arms back over the head, breathing in. Breathe out, arms come over. We lift the head and reach to the toes, then head down and reach over again. Breath out, reach up and lift. This is abdo prep because we're going to do a little bit more of this in a minute with teaser prep. Breathe out on the lift, shoulder blades are off the mat. Breathe in and reach. If the crunch or abdo prep, this position basically, is not suitable for you for any reason you already know of, that is a-okay. Instead, you'll just do the arms for me, not the head lift. Good, and we'll just keep that rib control if you're doing arms only. So as your arms go up, we try to resist the ribs flaring as well. This is our last one. Then we're going to add in a leg. So breathe in, lift the leg towards the ceiling, just halfway up, okay? Breathe out, lift the arms and the head, reach to those toes. Back down with the leg and the arms overhead. Other side, lift the leg, reach out, breathe out, crunch, breath out, back down. And again. Alternating legs again. The chin stays tucked towards the chest, even though the hands are reaching towards the toes. We're drawing the fronts of the ribs towards the hips, across the tummy there. Breath out, lift and crunch. Now, some of you might be so strong that you can actually half sit up into this position, and that's okay. Use a bit of momentum, go for it. Throw the arms forward, lift the whole back off the mat and come back down. But that may also not be you. You can just come with me, lifting the head and the tops of the shoulder blades, or not lifting the head at all, just doing the arms and legs. Maintaining neutral spine if it's just arm and leg movement for you today. We're nearly done. This is quite a long one. Good, this is it, last one. And bring those arms down beside you when you're resting, when you're sat flat on the floor. We want the shoulder blades sort of tucked in underneath you a little bit, palms up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to walk the feet up as well, so knees are bent. Very good. Try to find a place where your feet are flat and you can spread your toes a little bit in your socks. Or out of your socks if you don't have them on. But from here now, we're just going to do a few pelvic tilts. So that is rocking through the hips and the lower back. And you might not be able to see real clearly, but flattening the back into the table is posterior tilt. And we're going to lift and arch the back away from the floor, anterior tilt. Using your tummy muscles to try to drive the posterior tilt, the flattening of the back into the mat. And then it's the back muscles going the other way. So the bottom, your backside, it tries to help out. We want that to sort of switch off a bit so that the tummy muscles can become the primary mover. Just breathing however comes naturally on this one. Just going through both of those full movements as far as you can. Helps to loosen up the lower back as well. And then find your neutral position again. Good. Float one knee to tabletop, knee over the hip. Second knee to tabletop, knee over the hip. Arms and shoulders relaxed. Keep the ribs nice and soft. Then toe taps from here. We breathe out, tap one foot down. Breathe in, lift back up. Other foot tap down. Breathe in, lift back up. Keep tapping one at a time. With your breath. With the rest of your body pretty well motionless. And if you can think of adding in one more thing, breathing as you tap, one leg at a time, and drawing your pelvic floor muscles up and in. So that's kind of like you want to hug hug that bladder higher up inside of you. Or if you can imagine the pelvic floor muscles like elevator doors, we're closing those doors and then drawing the elevator up a few levels into the building that is your body. 3, 2, and 1. Hug your knees for me. Let the elevator drop down if it hasn't already. Just massage your back on the floor there. Good, good, good. Very happy. Round 2, knees again to tabletop. Hands back down where they were, relaxing beside you. Then we're going to go toe tap switch. So same thing, but faster pace. Breath out, tap, and switch, switch, and switch. So those taps are really nice and light. You can tap with the toe or the heel, especially if you point the foot and you get cramped, then you can just come with the heel down to the floor instead. Switch, switch, like a really slow running or marching action. But keeping everything else well controlled. Neutral spine in position, ribs still soft, shoulders still relaxed, still breathing though. Try not to hold your breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And again, hug your knees or feet can rest on the floor. We're going to use the brain a little harder next round. We're going to add in some arms to do that same kind of scissor action, okay? With the scissor legs, with the toe tap legs. Still with the switch, so that faster pace. So join me when you're ready. We're going to go tabletop legs, arms reaching to the ceiling to start. Remember, we're starting in opposite. So let's go left foot and right arm moving both away from that set position. Bring them back in, swap to the other side. Swap and swap and swap and swap. Now the arm movement can be as big or as small as you like. The leg movement, of course, tapping to the mat and then to tabletop. Still have neutral spine. What that means is we're not letting the tummy muscles kind of just relax and we're arching the back. We're going to keep the ribs drawn down towards the hips there. Switch, 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 switch. Keep breathing. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feet down, arms stay up for me. Last round of this sequence, modification on our clinical Pilates repertoire. We're going to breathe in as the arms come overhead, breathe out as the arms come back up with our double toe taps. So a lot of core work, okay? And we're going to keep it as strong as possible, but you stay within the range of movement that you can control. So if you go really big arms and really far legs, that's a lot of range of movement. And if you can't control that with your tummy muscles, obviously you need to reduce that range. Hopefully that makes sense. So the tabletop first, neutral spine set. We're going to breathe in on this one. We're going to tap the arms, the feet as we reach the arms over, then bring them both back up to set. Now you can breathe out on the effort here if you prefer, just so long as you're not holding your breath, I don't mind. We don't want to let the arms and the legs bring our back into that arch position. We need to keep it strong. Imagine hugging a blueberry below you. Hug it so it doesn't roll away, but don't squash it entirely. Double toe tap, double arm reach. I only have 4 more of these. This is heavy. Well done if you can do this. Otherwise, just doing the legs or just doing the arms. Last one here. And bring it in. Hug, hug, hug. Feet to the floor. And we're going straight into bridging, because that will be active recovery for us. Hands by our sides or across the chest if you don't want any balance support. Feet are flat, toes are spread, and we are going to drive the hips up to the ceiling with the legs. As high as you can go. Breathe in at the top. Breathe out, then rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae, touching down until the tail is the last to hit the floor. Relax at the bottom, breathe in. Breathe out again, lift into bridge at the top. Good. And back down. Now you can go a little different pace if you're moving faster or slower than me. So long as we try to imagine leaving a footprint, an impression of your foot in the ground, in the mat, so that we know the legs are doing the primary strength work there. Last one on the lift. I want you to stay at the top for me here. Then we're going to go for a double heel raise. So that's both heels lift and lower together. As you do this, imagine pushing down through that big toe, a little more effort through the big toe than anywhere else. Hips stay up high. Try not to let them start to sink to the floor. Hips up, pushing the heels up, driving through the big toe. Sorry if it's pushing into a cramp there for you. It just means it's a weaker part of the muscle. Needs this, but we'll have to build up to it. We've got 3, 2, 1. Feet are flat. Hips are still up high. I want you to lower the hips just halfway down and lift and squeeze again to the top. Lower halfway down and then lift and squeeze again. So if this is bothering your lower back, it means your legs are starting to fatigue and the back is kicking in to help. So we're going to come right down to the floor and lift just to halfway, and then back down to the floor, lift to halfway. That's if your back is sore. Otherwise, all the way to the top, just down to halfway, and then back again to the top. Looking good, looking strong. Couple of wobbles, couple of shakes is fine. Last one here, all the way up, and slowly through the vertebrae, back down, down, down. Relax at the bottom. Well done, well done. We're going to stay here for some stretches. So pick a leg and kick it to the ceiling. Toes come back up towards the nose. You can use your hands to help hold that leg there. And then I want you to roll the ankle at the top. So that'll introduce a bit of sciatic nerve mobility as well, which is great for the health of the nerve and the hydration of the nerve. Last one. Then cross that ankle that's in the air over your other knee. Push your outside knee away from you. If you are tight in kind of the front or the side of your hip, this is a good stretch for you. If you're not tight, you won't feel a stretch, but it's still good for range of movement in the hip, checking how healthy it really is. And then we'll just release the pressure, but keep that position. The foot that's on the floor, we're going to try to lift it up and hug both knees over the body. Now you might not get much range, but just see how you go. Hold it in. Breathe. And you can just gently rock a little bit side to side and see if there's a better angle of that same stretch for you. Lovely, let that go. Let's do it all on the other side now. So other leg up tall, toes towards the nose, hands are on if you want the extra support. Good, and rolling the ankle now. Nice and tight on that stretch. Then cross the ankle over the knee, push the outside knee away from you. If your pelvis twists a bit, that's okay. Just trying to get some mobility in there. Doing really well. And then we just release the pressure and pull the foot up off the floor. Hug those knees towards you. And then rocking the body side to side just to change the angle to where it feels most intense. Obviously, discomfort is kind of the sensation you'll have with the stretch. It shouldn't be painful though. All right, well done. And release. Roll onto your side for me. A very brief sequence of things to do here. So using your underarm as your pillow. Knees are bent, legs together. And then just going to pull your little waist up away from the mat below, just a tiny bit for some imaginary ants to crawl through under there. Then feet stay together. We lift the knee and lower the knee for clamshells, okay? Lift and lower, lift and lower. Now, the idea here is to not roll the whole body. So the hips shouldn't move. Imagine an icy cold wall behind you. You definitely don't want to twist back and touch that wall. It's a bit too fresh this morning. Keep your waist lifted off those imaginary ants. 3, 2, 1. Well done. Both legs stretch out straight for me. Double leg lift. Good hand can be in front if you need a bit of balance support here. Top leg up, down, up, down. Still balancing. The bottom leg just hovers off the mat below. Breathing, balancing, and exercising the top leg mostly. Then top leg goes up and bottom leg lift and lower, lift and lower. The hand here is really helpful to give you that extra oomph. But for more challenge, of course, no hand support. 4, 3, 2, 1, and done. Both legs just down to hover position, so they're not completely on the mat, they're still lifted. Top hand, breathe in, reach it overhead. Breathe out, lift the head and reach to your ankle. Head down, breathe in, reach over. Breathe out, lift and reach. And again. Now the legs can lift and lower a bit, just as the torso does, the upper body. You can push on the underarm a bit to help bolster that lift. And only 3 more to go here. 1, 2, and 3. And down. Bring your top knee in front of the tummy. Kind of appreciation for that hip. Then the hands out in front of the chest. We're just going to go bow and arrow stretch. So pretend like you're pulling on an arrow in the bow. We're going to come across the chest, elbow towards the ground behind you. Head will follow through, but the knee stays on the ground in front and back the way you came. Out past your fingers. Good. And then again, pulling back over the chest, elbow to the ground behind and back through to the front. We've got 1 more to go. And the more you do of these, the more repetitions, the less stiff the spine will feel. Come back to the front if you're not already there. Legs together, push up to side sitting. And then a quick mermaid stretch up and over the way the feet are pointing. So if they're pointing to your left, you're reaching to the left. Deep breath there. Excellent. Then release out of that stretch and we'll spin around or roll over. We'll do the other side, down into lying. Knees bent, tucked in together. Waist tiny bit lifted up. So that's by pushing this hip down away from you, that direction. You should get a little bit of space coming up under there. And even if there's no actual space, so long as the muscles are active, we're doing the right thing. Feet together, lift and lower top knee. Now, some people are just like toes stay together. Some people it's heels together. Doesn't matter. The emphasis is on the rotation of this thigh bone, your femur, and not rolling the whole pelvis, not rolling the body at all. If anything, the hips are slightly rolling forwards to actively engage this gluteus medius muscle. That's the target here. Waist up, breathing, and lift and lower that knee. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. Both legs slide away. Hand in front if you need it. Double leg lift. Balancing. Once you're set, top leg lift and lower. Bottom leg stays hover. Four, 3, 2, then up and hold. Bottom leg lift and lower. A bit wobbly on this side. That's it, good. Keep the top leg up, bottom leg working up and down, up and down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Then both legs down just to hover position unless you really need a rest. Top hand overhead, breathing in. On the breath out, we lift the head, reach to the ankle. Come on down, reach over again, and back up and reach. You look very clever doing this one because you are very clever and strong. 4, and 3, and 2. Well done. And 1. Well done. Now, bring those legs down, the top knee in front of the tummy and the hands out in front of the chest again. This is that bow and arrow stretch. When you're ready, we just slide it back, rotate the elbow to the ground behind, back to the front. So the head will follow around, so the chest kind of opens up to the ceiling. You can extend the arm out further behind if you like. Through to the front, past the fingers at the front. Hello, and then back we go. Last one. Now you can do more of these at home. If you've been driving lots or doing lots of desk work or watching lots of telly, it's nice to just get that upper back moving. Back to the front and knees back together. Push up to side sitting, reaching over the same direction as the feet. Now, some of you will be quite stiff, and that's okay. Just coming up or even across the body. We'll just open up through the obliques that we've been exercising. Oh, very nice. Let's let that go. Quick blitz over onto our tummies. So spin around if you like so that you can get a good view of the screen. Onto your tummy with your head resting down on your hands. And then pushing the pubic bone down into the mat there. We float one leg up and down, other leg lift and lower, keeping your head and shoulders relaxed. My head's up just so you can hear me a bit clearer. Try to have that chin sort of tucked down, nose pointing to the mat. The emphasis is really, well, the focus is on the pubic bone, trying to stay pushing into the mat as you lift these legs. Now that is trickier than it sounds. The tummy muscles are working to hold that pressure, to deload or offload the lower back, so that when we lift the legs, it is purely the leg muscles. We will never not get some back support, but we don't want the back to be overloaded. Good. Now that looks really quite easy. Let's move it into a double leg lift. So one leg up, two legs up. Little bit of a swimming kick. Nice. Well done. Keep breathing, keep holding. Then as they keep going, so long as that's not hurting you anywhere, we slide the hands forwards of the forehead, float the head and the chest away from the mat. We hold that lower extension. So elbows and forearms pushing into the mat. You might find your shoulder blades are separating apart slightly, and that's okay. We want the chin drawn in, the eyes looking down, and the nose pointing below the thumbs. Keep the legs working and the pubic bone pushing down. Got 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Legs can keep going if you want the challenge, otherwise give them a break. Lower the head and chest. We're going to tuck the forehead onto the mat. Bring the hands to the sides of the ears. Elbows down closer to the ribs. And then we float the chest slightly off the mat. Shoulder blades pull back together. Squeeze a pencil between those shoulder blades. Then lift the arms off the mat onto some skateboards. We skate forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards. Keep the legs fluttering if you can, otherwise let them rest if you need, especially if you've got some back trouble. Skating for 3, and 2 and 1. Then arms in, legs down, and brace your tummy. Push up to hands and knees. Walk the knees in under the tummy. We're going to round the back. And then extend into cow stretch. So the belly hangs, the tail lifts, and the head lifts. And again, round the other way. Tuck the tail, drop the head. Well done, ladies and gents. Tuck the toes. Flatten through to neutral spine position. Head in line with the spine. Hands where they're comfy, usually slightly forwards of the shoulders or onto elbows if you can't push on your wrist. Lift into a knee hover. So we're drawing that bladder up and in. Then we're going to set the knees an inch or 2 off the mat. Hold here. Breathe. Check neutral spine. Check your head position. It doesn't often hangs underneath the belly. We need to lift it up in line with the spine. Then the grand finale, lift the hips all the way up to downward dog. Heels kind of push down towards the floor behind you, stretching the calf. Nice long stretch. Well done, well done. If you can, then walk your feet to your hands or your hands to your feet. Bend the knees where you need to. And super slowly roll up from there. Alternatively, back onto your knees. Step 1 foot forward and up to standing. If that's where you're at today. Yeah, well done. We're up. Hopefully not too dizzy. Palms forward for me. Take a breath in as you lift onto toes. Let's check your balance. Nice, and out. Hands behind through the little chest stretch. Oh, very good. Release that off. Have a little dance and a little shake, and that's it. Well done. Excellent session.